What's up, guys? Today we're talking about Final Destination 5. I'm Tyler, welcome back to my channel, and we're finally at the end of this franchise chat for the Final Destination series, and I know that I've said this before, but this is my favorite film in the franchise. I literally just got done watching it. I have tried something new, even though you can hardly even see it, even though it essentially just shows the Warner Brothers BD Live. But either way, I literally had just finished this and then went to the menu right afterwards. So this is so fresh in my mind, and God, yeah, let's get into it. As you guys know, I really pay attention to these intros, as I don't know, dumb as they can be, but this one is just fucking amazing. It takes kind of the concept of the fourth film's intro, but just does it right. You've got a very creative intro of just having, rather than just like recreating the deaths in skeletal CG, this is showing it has a glass pane with the credit on it, and then something smashes through it. And sometimes they go in reverse. Sometimes it's stuff from the movies. Other times it's just like scary household item that could kill you. And I love that. Everything about that intro is so fucking awesome. All the way down to the font. Like, that's how cool this intro is. I absolutely love it. It's well done, which after the Final Destination, just having something that's well done is nice, because it's been proven that that's not always the case with this franchise. As a matter of fact, watching this movie made me hate the Final Destination even more, because this film is so competent that it shows the incompetency of the fourth film. So, there's a lot about this that I really, really love, and it all essentially starts right away. I've also said in the past that one thing that I really enjoy with these films is when they're not strangers. I think that adds, ups the stakes, and just the story is overall better when it's people that know each other, whether that's people from a class, whether that's... Wait, is that all that we have, that people knowing each other? Because, yeah, the fourth film, it's a bunch of random people. There's some friend groups, or a friend group, I should say. And the second one, it's the same type of thing. So really, it's just classes, but this is people from work. And I like that because, again, it just raises the stakes. When there's a familiarity between the characters, it just makes things a lot more intense. I just love all of the characters in this. They do a really good job. The acting is really great. Everyone's set up well from the intro prior to when they go to the bridge. They have a lot of minor character moments that just, I don't know, add to it a lot. Like, you have this stereotypical hot girl that they almost set that up as her just being whatever. She's just going to be like another hot girl in this series. But then they give her a witty quip, because this gymnastics girl who's also an intern there, she says something about her losing weight, losing that baby fat. And the hot girl's just like, oh, that's not fat. Those are called tits. Just it's a minor thing that just it adds to it, and it's delivered really well. That could be a line that doesn't work with a lesser actress, but thankfully this girl does really well with it. In fact, everyone in this movie just knocks it out of the park, including Nick D'Agostino. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name. Either way, our lead, Nick, he's in the NBC show that was canceled, Trial and Error, which, if you have not seen Trial and Error, please get on Hulu and check that out, because it's amazing. The fact that we even got a second season was lucky enough, because it's one of those series that, as good as it is, it just never clicked. And he's awesome in it, and he's great in this. There's some moments where he just has a certain kind of delivery where you're like, wait, was that meant for humor? Just because that's just the line delivery, which before seeing Trial and Error, I kind of had an issue with those things, but after seeing Trial and Error, I was like, oh no, that's how he delivers lines, and it works for the character. So just a lot to like about all of the characters in this. I would say that the least developed of all of them is David Koechner's boss character, which even then he still has more to do than like other boss characters in other films. So because it would be like the teacher role in the first film. And there's a lot of good stuff in this, especially once it gets to the bridge. The bridge is the best accident of the whole series. It is so fucking good. And why? Because each individual death in it is so cool. You have someone just getting, which I love. You have someone just getting fucking oil spilled all over them, which I believe that's Koechner's character. Then you have people just getting fucking torn apart by rampant like lines, like the steel cables that hold up the bridge. People getting like falling through. Then my favorite is the lead getting killed, where it's the sheet metal slides off the truck and cuts him in half. It's just such a cool shot. And then right prior to that, there's a guy gets a pole right through his face. There's good stuff like that, and the fact that it's also so well shot adds to it. And we're 8 years removed from the release of this, and everything looks photorealistic, which is fucking awesome. Because especially going back and watching the second movie, the highway accident isn't nearly as impressive once like some years have passed, because you're able to see some of the spotty CGI, but fortunately in this, fucking everything is on point, especially once it gets to the finale, which obviously we'll talk about that towards the end. They just do a really good job with it all. And plus, another aspect is that this is actually an everyday thing. It's a bridge that you go across and that breaks apart. It's not just something like going to a race car fucking track. A racetrack does not have the same level of danger. They had to manufacture so much for that. In this one, it's like, oh no, you literally don't have ways to go. You're trapped on there. Things are falling. Like, it's high enough up that you legit can't even like essentially fall down you can't just jump off into the water. She'll die. That's like something that is just kind of common knowledge, that you likely would like break your legs. So it kind of loses some points when one of the girls falls into the water and survives. It would have been nice to just even a thing of like where she's struggling and says something like my legs, just to imply that her legs are broken. As is, once you see her land, you're just kind of like, oh, why doesn't everyone just jump in the water? But then a car comes down, smashes her, so makes sense in the long run as to why they did that. But I would have preferred them just like having some kind of consequence for getting in the water. Which, by the way, one thing I thought of during this was, if this was directed by like David Ellis, who did 2 and 4, then as soon as that girl falls in the water, there would have been like a shark that comes up and gets her, just because it's like, ooh, she's in the water, we need something scary. Like, rather than, oh yeah, we have this bridge and we have these cars that are up top. It makes sense for something to fall down on her, rather than Ellis, who just like is like, oh well, we'll have this. Oh well, we'll have this explosion that takes out all this stuff, and we'll just using the surroundings makes the film better. I don't want to get back to the stakes, but it just makes the stakes higher and it leaves you thinking about it more. Just like the second film with the highway accident, there was so much that, or even the first film with the plane, whenever I'm in those situations, I'll think back to those films and be a little more paranoid than I would have otherwise, specifically because I have the visuals of these films in my head. But yeah, I'm really glad that these are all things that have something to do with the bridge, which is, again, just nice. Getting past the accident, which I really like the accident, though I do kind of wish that they had killed off like someone, like one of the coworkers that we meet, because they have all these coworkers that don't get off and that all end up dying on the bridge after the premonition. It would have been nice if one of the characters that we were introduced to before the bridge accident was in that group. That way, because as is, the beginning and all the characters we're introduced to are the people all getting off, which, I mean, it's fine, but I actually really like the idea in the third film, and they have it in the first film as well. I mean, and I guess technically in the second film, where the whole, like, the group of friends, the group of people, they lose someone. So then it just adds a little more to the story. And so I would have liked that, even if it was just like the one character. Yeah, I would have preferred if it was just like one of the one character introduced was the one that dies. Because then, I mean, they mention like people later on, and we don't really have much of a connection to it. So it's just like, whatever. And yeah, once they're off the like avoid the accident, then we have a detective character introduced again, which is, they have that in the first and second. And so I actually really love it in this film because the detective is played by Courtney B. Vance, he's in fucking everything. He's in so many different things, and he's such a good actor that it just, I don't know, it adds a little something to the proceedings, because I love having Tony Todd in there, but it's his role. It's kind of, you're just kind of like, oh yeah, I mean, he's B horror movie actor that you would expect to have these kind of cameo roles, rather than Courtney B. Vance, where it's like, oh damn, they got like a legit actor to do this, which is just, it's cool. I like that they did that because I enjoy good acting, so that helps out a lot. And especially, like, he does such a good job in that he's not, especially in the first one, you're kind of left with this thinking like, God, these fucking detectives are idiots. But in this, it's, I don't know, he just plays it well, where you respect like their line of thinking, and it's not like he's just throwing around accusations and shit like that. So I really like that he was cast in this. Now, getting into the kills. The kills in this movie are fucking amazing, and outside of the accident, we start things off strong, real fucking strong. The first kill is the gymnastics kill, which those of you that saw my favorite Friday the 13th Final Destination kills list, this is my number one. Like, I fucking love this kill. The setup is great, the execution, no pun intended, is fantastic. They do a really, really good job. And the fact that it's my number one might be the fact that I have like experience in the gymnastics world, not in terms of me being a gymnast, but my stepmom is a gymnastics coach, and so I've seen a lot of meets, and I've edited their like yearly highlight videos like 5 or 6 years. So I just have a lot of knowledge of just how scary these things are. Cause like the girl ends up dying on the bars, which, like, there was a girl like a year or two ago, can't remember, I saw it on the news, that she was on the bars and she got paralyzed because she fell off. Like, these are things that happen. Gymnastics is very difficult and very dangerous because of the things they're doing. And so there's stuff that I appreciated about it. The bars were set up, like, I know that the like gymnasts are usually the ones that set these things up, and they're, depending on where you're at, they're teens or 20s, and so they're young girls. It's not like that's their job to be putting these things up. So there's going to be some mistakes and some fuck ups. So the fact that things weren't all screwed in, like, I could see that happening. And holy fuck, the screw on the balance beam just sitting there, so well shot. There's more tension in like the build up to this than I can even remember. And the fact that they do this great shot when everything finally happens and she falls off the bars, it's done in one take, where you're able to see her come off the bars and then land, and it's fucking brutal, and it looks so good. And it's great that this is so brutal and it hits so hard, because this is supposed to be the like kickoff for our Miles Fisher character going fucking bananas. So this needs to hit hard. If it doesn't hit hard, then what the fuck's the point? The first character to start like questioning things, and which leads into one of the most interesting character developments of the whole series. But yeah, I love that kill. Is just fantastic. They do a really, really good job with it, and my favorite kill of the franchise. they stack the deck in this film. You have an acupuncture kill, which is kind of reminiscent of the tanning salon, the tanning bed deaths from the third one. It's something that things can go wrong, and when he finally falls off the table and like lands on the acupuncture needles, it's so brutal. And then you're thinking maybe he gets lit on fire, but no, the Buddha, which is set up at the beginning of the scene, falls off the shelf and smashes his head. Smashes. I honestly think that it's better and more shocking than the Terry death, just because of how well executed it is. The Terry death, it's great and all, but it's just so like out of nowhere and happens so quickly. You're not like, oh my God, that looks so good, because it's literally like she steps out and it's just a CGI blur. It doesn't have the impact of this. And especially because the character that happens to, because he's just this like misogynist douchebag that just has some issues. But yeah, he's just not a good guy. So, but he's still fun. So it makes the whole thing hit, a little harder, and it's just really cool. Then you have the LASIK eye surgery. It's more of the setup and the during, than the actual execution that is so great, because obviously, like, it's done Clockwork Orange style, where the eyes pried open and then the like laser machine like overdoes it and starts fucking cutting into her eye like crazy, and it looks great. She holds her hand up, cuts into it. It still looks fantastic. They do a great job with that, but I would have preferred something in the room taking her out, because instead she just like breaks a heel. I think she breaks a heel, doesn't just slip. Pretty sure the heel gets broken, and then falls out the window and lands on a car, where it's like, yeah, that's fucking brutal and everything, but I would have preferred it. I don't like when it's just like, oh, this random thing, because the big payoff for that one is that like her eye pops out and then gets squished by a moving vehicle. So it's like, oh, she wanted to get LASIK, where I get that payoff, but I would have preferred something that actually had to do with one of the tools and implements in the room, because again, it just makes it more scary and there's more longevity to the kill itself. Now, one thing in this film that I honestly didn't even catch until this viewing, and that's that the characters don't figure out that death is coming for them and that there's a like set order until like 62 minutes into the movie. Like, that's awesome, because we're actually able to set all these things up, because I think it's like the fourth one, and I know they do it in the third one, where right after the accident they figure it out and have to, essentially they're just going on a mission to save everyone. Meanwhile, with this, it's them trying to like pick up their lives and piece it back together after the accident. It's great that they even did that, because it allows us as the audience to follow along with them a little more, and it becomes less, I don't know, it just becomes more grounded and more natural, because when you go into like detective, like, I'm gonna save everyone mode too quick, which they honestly don't even do much of that at all. And when that does come into play, there's much more of like a moral and ethical conundrum that comes along with it, which, it's so good. It's so good. Still have a couple deaths to go over before we get into that. Oh, and by the way, I really enjoy that Emma Bell essentially breaks up with the lead at the very beginning, and it's them just trying to like cobble things together and like them reprioritizing things, which I like, because I know in like the third one they don't really handle the whole the one girl that gets killed on, the best friend, I think her name is Gina, that might actually be the actress's name. She just like mentions offhand of like, oh, I'm gonna break up with him in a couple weeks anyway after graduation. It kind of comes across as cheap, rather than this one where it actually feels character building, and so I really, really, really dig that. Let's get into it. So once they figure out that death is like going after them and that there's specific order, you have God damn it, I'm so bad. I literally just watched this movie and I can't remember any of the fucking leads, and I don't want to just be like the black dude, but we're about to be very politically incorrect and just say the black dude. He's the like the factory manager. He essentially takes the life of this guy who's been fucking with him all by accident. He like pushes him, thinks he's pushing him out of the way, but instead essentially dooms him to death. And it's really cool. The guy goes down on this hook which pierces through his brain. It's a really cool scene. But then right after, they kind of do that like quick shock death, which I kind of understand because, you know, you got to get things moving. However, this movie comes in at like 90 minutes. I think that they could have done like Keckner a solid and actually had him like have a cool death, just in terms of like having build and lead up. Because instead it's just like, oh, I mean, who's next on the list? Fucking wrench flies across the screen, goes right into his fucking eyes. Because the death itself is really cool, but it's just like a good joke. If you don't have a good setup, then the punchline just doesn't land as hard as it could. So, I mean, that aspect kind of sucked. But then we're getting into my favorite aspect of it. Miles Fisher's character is so distraught from his girlfriend dying that he figures out, because of the black dude, again, I hate saying, the factory manager accidentally killing the guy, they surmise that he took that guy's life expectancy and so was therefore saved. And so Miles Fisher's like, well, I'm gonna fucking do it too, which is really cool because it just adds a whole nother dimension to the series. Because in the past it's been kind of like, oh well, you're next, I don't have to deal with it until it's like coming after me. But in this, it's like, no, I need to figure out how. It's not just like skipping around and where it comes back to me. It's like, no, I want to put this to rest. And so he makes the decision that he can't kill just a stranger. He has to kill someone that he finds deserving. And so he's going to kill Emma Bell, which I think is so funny. In that, my thought of it is that you don't know that she has a long life expectancy, because our lead gets killed and then the premonition ends just before and so she's still alive. However, we don't know that she doesn't, like, she's still on the bridge, which is collapsing, and she's right there. She easily could be dying right after. So there's that little logic leap that I'm not totally sure what they were trying to do, but still, that doesn't take anything away from it, because I love that this then becomes like a slasher movie in its final like 10-15 minutes, with Miles Fisher going after the two leads. And especially because it's set in a kitchen, and kitchens just have so much that can go wrong, and especially like a restaurant kitchen, because that's just something that they should have been utilized well before this. They kind of tease it. They tease it in the like right before that, in the lead up. But honestly, if they come back with a Final Destination 6 or a reboot, whatever the hell they plan on doing, I think that this, having something set in a restaurant kitchen where that's actually where the death happens, like the lead and the death, where it's all stuff that could be happening in a kitchen, adds so much to it. There's so much potential there, because I know that with Miss Luton, and then is it Aaron from the second one, our lottery winner from the second one, with those two, obviously they were able to use it a bit but this is just a residential kitchen. But with a restaurant kitchen, you've got all these like industrial grade thing, like ovens and blenders and stuff that's just higher powered and bigger and can do a lot more damage. So it'd be cool to see them utilize that, especially because there's so much stuff like hanging up where there's just a lot that can go wrong. People don't have like fryers in their kitchen, in their like regular residential kitchen usually. So just know that, you know, if those things are in the sixth one, then, you know, they probably just watched this video and stole it from me. Chances are. Yeah, right. Unfortunately, Courtney B. Vance gets shot by Miles Fisher, because he's taken his life. Things wrap up once they finally kill Miles Fisher, because it seems like, oh well, Miles took the detective's life, and then our lead took Miles' life. So it seems like everything is all hunky dory and all good. But then we got cut to 2 weeks later, and they're getting on a plane that looks rather familiar. And we find out, oh, there's Alex from the first one being thrown off. Holy shit, this movie is a prequel. Oh, that's how you do a fucking prequel. We have then them lifting off, and we get the accident from the first film, except turned up to 11. Oh, the production quality on this crash is just incredible. I can only imagine what like James Wong and Glenn Morgan thought when they got to see like what these guys did in part 5, because it blows the crash in the first one out of the water. They're able to do a whole lot more, because I mean, this is 11 years after the first one, and CGI has moved up just so much. I fucking love that. The crash itself is just amazing, because like Emma wants the window seat, which then it means she gets fucking flung out, which she gets like cut in half right after. And that's the thing. That was the thing that made me go like, oh, this is better than 3, which I love 3. I've stated it as my favorite before, but something like Emma's character being cut in half, those are the moments that I think that raise it above 3, because like looking at the roller coaster crash in that one, it's just a bunch of like, this thing happens that you can't even really see. So many of the characters get killed off screen on that, versus this one where all the kills on the bridge were awesome. Then the airplane, they redo the first one and do it better. Like, you just can't beat that. And then you have the little tag where you find out that our factory manager is like at a visitation kind of thing for Roy, the guy who he accidentally murdered. Then they find out that, oh, he had a blood clot in his brain and was going to die soon anyway. And then the wheels from Flight 180 that had blown off the plane land on our manager. It's a great scene, good cap off. And then we go into the end credits, which are a complete like highlight reel of the series. All I could think was like, yep, this is how you do it. This is absolutely how you do it. I love this movie. Absolutely love it. When you're making top lists for like favorite horror films, sometimes it's more of like, oh, well, if I'm gonna list A Nightmare on Elm Street, it'll be the first one. You're less likely to do the like films later on in the series, because the quality just usually drops, other than when there's just like a big revitalization like New Nightmare or Jason Lives. So the fact that I'm able to confidently put Final Destination 5, like the 5th Final Destination, in probably my top 10 favorite horror films. That's how good it is. Just maybe top 20. I'd have to figure that out. I've already done a favorite horror films list, haven't I? I probably have. I don't know. But yeah, that's really all for our franchise chat with Final Destination. I hope that you guys enjoyed. This has been a really fun August, even though I film these videos in like May and June. Shh, don't tell anyone. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I really love doing these franchise chats, because it's all franchises that I really love and that I can talk about for so long. That's why these are always like a fucking half hour long. And thank you so much for those that sit through all of this, that support this channel by liking, commenting, subscribing. I really appreciate it, because I love talking horror films and discussing horror films. And so the interactions I have with you guys, love it. And so just down below, let me know what you thought of this franchise chat, what you thought of this film, what you thought of the whole Final Destination series, because I absolutely love it. And also let me know if there's any series in the future that you guys want me to go over. I'm pretty sure that I know what the next one's going to be. But yeah, that may have been a little too much of a hint, but oh well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey friends, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and check out this video that YouTube thinks that you would like.